Pre-order my book, American Evil. Link is in the description. So I have been thinking a little bit about how I want to promote American Evil, right? I've been talking a little bit about the plot and some of the characters, the major ones mostly. I've been focusing a lot on Soleil specifically because, like, she's a fan favorite character that people are already familiar with, but there are a handful of others that are returning from other books, kind of somewhat unexpected ones, I would say. Among them, yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait before talking about that. But I have been focusing a little bit about talking about the book itself, and I think maybe I need to start talking in more broad, general terms, right? How does American Evil place in the Cody canon, right? How is this book structured? What can you expect from it? What genre is it really? Because I think a lot of people still haven't really um, begun to understand the the genre, right? American Evil is a new project set in the Codyverse that is very similar in tone to Eye of the Dragon, the first book I ever published, right? That one was an action-based novel, very similar to Shonen battle manga series, right? In which numerous characters clashed with crazy powers, and there was some convoluted plot, and they all had to fight each other to resolve it. It's very, very battle manga-ish, right? It is it has its own unique flavor, right? Because it's a different medium, and I have my own take on things, and I emphasize different things than a Japanese creator would, right? Like this isn't just a one-to-one like knockoff of famous battle manga series. I did put a lot of work into like coming up with my own themes, my own ideas, my own power systems, like my own general like universe, right? And I do think because of the novel format, I can do a lot of things that manga creators don't have the freedom to do, right? For example, being in a long form novel format, I can essentially do what amounts to like an entire anime arc in a single novel, right? So, Eye of the Dragon is kind of an arc. Jaw of the Dragon is kind of its own arc, right? And American Evil is kind of its own arc, right? Where you have like lots of different characters developing, growing stronger, fighting each other, making new friends, right? Like just going through the motions, but in a completely different medium, right? The term I use to describe the genre for these kind of books, because not every kind of book I write is this. The term for the genre for this I coin battle fantasy, right? Because it's not traditional fantasy in any sense of the word, right? There's a lot of thought put into like each character's fighting style and their application of it and how it clashes against other characters' fighting styles and how they go through it, right? How they fight and how they would like clash together, right? How each character would try to get the upper hand over the other and try to win the fight and stuff like that. Like Alexa, stop. So, things that the characters like clash with different fighting styles, and they try to like overcome hurdles to uh beat the other guy, right? To overcome the other power set, right? That's kind of the focus of the fantasy aspect, is like the battle fantasy aspect of like how exactly characters would fight each other and how they would try to win, right? So for example, right now I'm doing a section in the book's climax regarding Persephone the magician, right? A character I haven't really talked about all that much, and a character that I'm just kind of like just now utilizing in a combat situation. And like one of her things is that she straight up lies about how her powers work. So other characters she's up against have no idea what she's actually capable of, because she's blatantly like trying to pretend as if she can't do certain things while she waits for an opening and things like that. Like she's the kind of person who uses her cunning and guile to overcome her opponents, not necessarily like raw power, right? And again, it was interesting seeing this character develop and seeing her like interact with other characters and like establish her personality. There's a bit early on where like she does a magic trick for no, she does something for the protagonist, right? You know, Soleil is there, and she claims that like it's just a trick, right? There's no actual magic involved. And of course, this is a setting where like there is real magic. So like Soleil immediately gets upset with her and calls her out on it, but she denies the fact that like she's using real magic, right? Like, because that's the idea is that she's an illusionist who uses real magic in relation to her tricks, right? Like she is very much like a magician in the typical sense, but like this is a setting where magic is real. And as a result of that, she uses magic to perform radical tricks that would not be possible otherwise. And in a lot of instances, these tricks are to kill people, right? Like she is very much like a bounty hunter, right? With a unique background and a day job, right? But a bounty hunter all the same. So again, when you look at characters like that, when you look at characters like Celia Rosenbaum, who is a knight of the Order of the Dragon, right? When you look at characters like Isabel Carnell, right? When you look at um, just all these characters, right? Like the idea is to have a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different fighting styles, a lot of different like motivations for fighting, a lot of different goals, and then just setting them against each other and making it interesting and fun, right? It's not all that different from superhero fiction in that regard. Although I do like to think it's like considerably less dumb because at the very least there will be very real consequences as to like what happens in American Evil, right? The things that happen in Cruel and Beautiful, specifically how like Soleil um, reacted to the whole ordeal, right? Like those consequences did lead into American Evil, right? A lot of characters from Lauren Frey are in this book, right? Like well, a lot, a couple, right? Like, these are characters who have met Lauren and have had interactions with her, right? And she doesn't come up in this book at all, but it's a little bit interesting to kind of think about like the continuity here and how like minor characters who met Lauren Frey, the protagonist of another novel, can reappear here, like, and just do something completely different than what they did in their debut appearance, right? Uh, like again, like in a lot of ways, American Evil feels like the next major step forward for me creatively. Like it reminds me a lot of how I felt when I finished like Clover Volume 4 for the first time, where it feels like I've kind of reached like the peak of my current limits, right? I've kind of like plateaued in that regard. Like this is the best thing I think I can write now, honestly, in the genre. And I mean, what I tried to do, like in between like these battle fantasy books, right, is that I tried to like broaden my skill set, right? I made Cruel and Beautiful, the anti-romance, right? I made Rabbit Hole, the martial arts story with no magic whatsoever, right? I made Lauren Frey, like the the Codyverse story that has no fighting in it at all, right? And then of course I made Draw the Dragon, which is a battle fantasy, but it's more about like super powered like characters fighting each other, right? I'd say like most of the characters in that are way stronger than all the characters in American Evil, right? Um, Again, like uh there's a lot more to be said about the book. Like again, I'm really struggling to try and explain what this book is without giving too much away. Again, this is like the main thing that's concerning me right now. It's 100% going to get finished, by the way. It's well on its way to being finished, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, am I making the book sound interesting? Are people interested? It's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know necessarily how best to promote this book. Like how best to like this is the first book I've been trying to like promote directly on the channel. So again, I'm trying to experiment with certain things. I might talk about certain characters. Who knows? I kind of enjoyed talking about Persephone here. But anyway, until next time.